If I can find it.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPiesie.tv.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Piesie, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, As I Learn, We All Learn by Kofi Piesie. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPiesie.tv.com.
All right. Peace, 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 and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. First, I want to say ETN Hotel, Dua Duau, Dua Aku, Dua Nature, Fatmu Alafi, Fatmu Riri, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Igungun Kiki Igungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to stand honor and praises to the true and living elders out there according to African traditions and from an African worldview and an African world perspective. Today, we got some of my favorite elders on the panel, as well as an up-and-coming young scholar. We'll get to them in a minute. I don't know if Sutek, you done came back to your computer.
Yeah. Peace to the chat. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Can't wait to get into this discussion, this interview, so I can learn more about the brothers, man. Peace to y'all. We appreciate y'all for coming on. Excited to learn the work that they out here doing, because that's always greatly appreciated. And to find out how this organization got started. I'm very interested. So yeah, man, appreciate y'all for coming. Make sure y'all like the show. Make sure y'all please share the show in as many groups as possible. And let's get it in.
All right. I'm gonna let y'all introduce yourselves in a minute, but let me do this. Y'all please like and share the show. Let me share my screen real quick, and then we'll jump straight into the interview. Okay. Y'all let me know when my screen is sharing. Right, I can't see from that end. Hold on, let me go
Good on this end.
okay. It's good on YouTube, the end too? Okay, yeah, I see it. All right, today's show again, we have a guest, a Raising Awareness group, and I'll let them introduce themselves in a minute. Everybody know they follow this channel here. As I learned, we all learn. This is a motto that we follow, a motto that we live by, a motto that we stand by. We also live by and stand by this motto. We must not let our ancestors down. And every show that we do on Warrior Scholars is always dedicated to someone, especially an ancestor. So today we dedicate this show to Fred Hampton. For people that may not know who Fred Hampton is a civil rights activist who was also a member of the NAACP, who later became a member of the Black Panther Party. Also, if you want your Warrior Scholar shirts, go to our online store in Boca Family Connect Apparel and get your Warrior Scholar shirts. Before we get into the interview, we have to define what we think what is a warrior and what is a scholar, and what we think a warrior scholar is before we start the interview. So a warrior from the 1300s, from the old Northern French guerrilla, a warrior soldier, combative, one who wages war from war, wage war from war. Warrior, a person who is engaged and experienced in warfare broadly, a person engaged in some struggle or conflict. Scholar, a person who attends a school or studies under a teacher, pupil. To a person who has done advanced studies in special fields. A learned person, a holder of scholarship. Scholar, a person who studies a subject of great detail, especially at a university. My perspective, Kofi Piesie perspective of what a warrior scholar is. The meaning of a warrior scholar is someone who is well studied and waging war against mistruths, pseudoisms, and willing to stand on the battlefield against institutions and platforms that promote that. A warrior scholar is someone who is on a mission for the truth, for accurate and sound information. A warrior scholar is one who have discipline, good character, morals, and willing to fight back against those who use information dangerously. To Tyler's perspective of a warrior scholar is one who is embarked in the journey of self-mastery through rigorous physical training and efforts to better one's state of being. A warrior is one who embarks on a journey to self-mastery through countless hours of meditation in an effort to learn the art of stillness, becoming harmonious with their environment and all of existence. A warrior is molded, guided, torn down, and built up so that their people may live a continuous and proliferating. Those who seek this path knows the inviolable gifts of humility and knows their place amongst the hierarchy of their people. But what does a warrior has to do with a scholar? A scholar is one who is embodied all those concepts mentioned above, with the focus geared towards scientific literacy and literacy as a whole. One must first be able to read and then develop superb readings and comprehension skills in order to properly relay the message received through one's scholastic endeavors. Proper demonstration and methodology is in any style of discipline or field of study, and only way it reach a proper conclusion. So a warrior scholar is one who fights on behalf of universal truth, one who seeks to truly set the standards to combat the omnipresence of misinformation, one who says in their lane, one who stays in their lane, humility, and does not portray themselves as a master swordsman if they specialize in the spear. So let me stop sharing my screen. Go back here. Stop sharing. All right. So I'll let y'all introduce yourself first. We'll start with Mku. We'll start with Olatunji, and then we'll start with Brother Kufu. Would y'all just briefly introduce yourselves?
Doing that, this is Mku Raising Awareness Group. I am one of the elders and one of the founding members, and I'm glad to be here today, my brother. Doing that, do it.
Hola Tunji Mwamba, and I am one of the elders of the Raising Awareness group. I am honored as always to be here to share what I've learned throughout my sojourn in this physical realm of existence for our people to help raise us and raise our awareness, which is what we're trying to do. Dura Nebpet.
Hotep, peace of the family. This is Brother Kufu, Mental Hotep. I am co-founder of Raising Awareness Group, writer, researcher, young scholar, and father, brother. I carry many titles, so I'm just happy to be here tonight.
All right. We are happy to have y'all on the platform. My first question now, and this is a question. If I got questions for y'all collectively, and then I got questions for y'all individually. So everybody that comes on, the first question I always ask, and this is for everybody, y'all can answer. Name some of your favorite warrior scholars.
You want to go first, Emku?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. I mean, I don't really think about that too much because I have so many favorite scholars. But I mean, going off the top of my head, I'll go with my brothers, Takar Kilimanjaro, my brother that's on the panel right now, Olatunji Mwamba. Naeem Akbar comes to mind. I'm actually reading one of his books presently that I haven't got a chance to get to. Dr. Kwa Bansaka Fuqua, who was the famous author of Mbongi, which I think is a very, very instrumental and revolutionary book that is going to play a very pivotal role in how we go forward in this political paradigm, especially the European political paradigm, because we need to come up with our own political solutions, as well as our community solutions. And also Malima Baruti is one of my favorite scholars. So right off the top of my head, that's what I want to recognize those guys. And by no means am I besmirching anybody else, but right now that's who I am presently honoring and also presently reading.
All right, those are some good ones too, man. Those are some nice.
Yeah.
Oh, let me also add Oba Jashaka. He's also a guy who an elder who I recently discovered the last year or so ago. And I know he's been around a long time, but I'm now getting into Brother Oba Tashaka. He is doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
Okay. I guess you can go ahead, Brother Olatunji, and then we'll go into and we'll let Kufu answer the question.
Okay. Well, for me, I always start with Sheikh Anta Diop. I mean, his research was just off the charts, and one of the people that I think is probably, even though he may not have studied under him physically, but he exemplifies the type of scholarship scientifically that Sheikh Anta Diop exemplifies, and that would be Ka Ma'at Kilimanjaro. I would also mention Dr. Teofilo Lubanga, Dr. John Henrik Clark, Dr. Joseph Ben Yakinen, Dr. Charles Finch, Dr. Marimba Ani, Dr. A.C.G. Hilliard, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, and there's just probably a host of others. Robin Walker as well is another one who comes to mind, as well as Dr. Manu Ampim. These are some of the the great writers and scholars that I've read their works and appreciate their scholarship and their research and all that they present. Um, there are many others that I could mention. Baruti, of course, one of my good friends. Uh, Man, I mean, it's just so many that I could mention. Those would be the ones that I can think of right now. That I mean that just stand out. Um, I mentioned a bunch of them in my books, so there are others. Of course, I was influenced at the start with um, Brother Malcolm X. Uh, his unwavering display of black manhood can never be overemphasized. So those are just some of the people that have influenced me in my journey.
Yeah, that's another good one. And just about every last one of them, your name, we got quiz and educational cards, and we got face cards with a lot of our teachers, scholars, revolutionaries, and great minds on these face cards. And just about every last one of those persons that you name are on these cards that we got out. So I rock with all of those. What about you, brother Kufu?
Yeah, Jacob Carruthers. I really love Jacob Carruthers' works. Intellectual Warfare, Meta
Yeah.
Nurture, Dr. Wade Nobles, Seeking a Saku was a very great read for me. Amos M. Wilson, Maulima Baruti, Dr. Malefe Kete Sate. Of course, I cannot mention. I can't forget to mention Dr. Takai Kilimanjaro and the works of the University of Kemet Press.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. I mentioned Yosebin Yakanan. Theophile Banga, Dr. Sheikh Answer Job. It's a whole list of people, but those are some that just come to my mind right up the top when you say favorites. And I appreciate the works that you guys are doing, Masi Warrior Clan. I appreciate the works that y'all doing as well. So yeah, those are just some of my favorites right now.
Can't go wrong with none of
Powerful names. There's some powerful names.
Yeah, can't go wrong with none of the names, man.
Mm.
So,
Nope.
what is the meaning? Any one of y'all can answer this, so y'all all can take turn and answer this question. What is the meaning? No. This is all individual questions for y'all. What is the meaning of you all's names? I like for people to define, because I think it's important. It's very important. When naming yourself in African traditions. So, y'all have some traditional names. So can y'all break down y'all names for the family?
I'll go first. So obviously in traditional African culture, you kind of given a name during a naming ceremony. Mine wasn't really given that way. I adopted part of my name, and first part of my name, which is Kufu, I got from a group which I won't particularly name because I don't associate with them no more. However, first part of the name is Kufu, which means protector. And I believe, let me backtrack. So Kufu is was king of ancient Kemet, or what we now know as Egypt. I believe was the 4th dynasty. So part of his name, I believe, was Kanum Kufu, which I believe translates to Kanum protects me. So Kufu means protector. Mentu Hotep is what I kind of just adopted. Not really wanting to carry my European name or my birth name. No disrespect to my birth parents. But Mentu Hotep means was also another king or Nusabiti of ancient Kemet. And the name translates to Montu is satisfied or Montu is at peace. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, you want to go in, Coop?
Go ahead, Golden John. Go ahead.
Okay. Olatunji Mwamba. It's actually Olatunji Seba Sarah Mwamba. And I've gone through many names over the years. When I was practicing Islam, my first name was Muhammad. Of course, I no longer practice Islam, so I no longer use the name Muhammad in my name. Although legally, when I changed my name legally, that's what it was, Muhammad Olatunji Mwamba. It is now just Olatunji Seba Sarah Mwamba. Olatunji means honor reawakens me. Seba, as you know, means wise. Sarah means son of Ra, and Mwamba means spiritually strong. That is what I try to exemplify in my my behavior and my character. And so I didn't get the chance to go to a naming ceremony either. I changed my name when I was 20 years old. Legally, I changed it at the age of 23. So my name is Olatunji Mwamba. It has been my legal name since 1977. So in actuality, I've been Olatunji Mwamba longer than I wasn't. Because I'm now 66 years old. I'll be 67 in June. So I've actually had that name for 40. I've had it for 46 years and legally been carrying it for 43 years, almost 44. So all of my children have that last name, except for the two oldest, who were born before I changed my name legally. So I wanted to make sure that the reason I changed it was because I did not want to pass on the slave surname to my children. And I was fortunate that my father understood, did not take offense to it, even though I had his last name, because he and my mother were married. So I have no compunctions about the name that I've chosen. Stand strong on it, and I'm very proud of it.
Okay. Yeah, and I have a little bit of a story behind my name. I've just recently taken the Swahili name Mku Mz. Mku meaning a number of different things: great, chief, priest. More importantly, for me, respected. And then Mz simply means old man or elder. What I would like to put the significance of part of my name would be respected elder. Now, the reason why I choose respected elder from that Swahili name is because we have a member of the Raising Awareness group who now has transitioned to as an ancestor several years ago, named Ivan Irby, better known as Africanus. And I remember when we would hang out, myself, and Kufu. He would always tell me, Elder, you need to get yourself an African name. And I knew how important that was, obviously, but I wanted to kind of like give myself a traditional, go through the traditional rites of doing it. You'll go to go to a priest or go to a head of a shrine or somebody like that. Delve into a spiritual, get into a spiritual institution and do it that way. But he told me, he said, look, man, he says, by the time you do all that, man, you may not even be around anymore, so he said, look, man, you are the respected elder. We respect you highly, and we're going to respect you even more if you get an African name. So, I actually really thought about that. And I just came up with Mku Mz. And I will add that once I find myself not living up to that name and that that definition of being a respected elder, then I would not be worthy of carrying that name. If we cannot carry the name with respect and earn that respect on a daily basis, there's no need to have an African name. And I want to make sure that everybody is very, very clear about that. Just because you have an African name doesn't mean crap if you're not living up to the standards and the meanings and the responsibilities of what that name means. So yes, respect the elder. I hold that with a lot of pride because it came from now an ancestor, and I mean that's the best to me. Is the best naming ceremony that I can ever think of. I mean, getting it from a now transition ancestor. So I'll carry that the rest of my life.
Man, that's a student name for you. You know, I always speak it. You know, I always call you Awuwera, which means great elder. You know, and like I said, I gained much respect for you a few years ago when you, brother Kilimanjaro came on to the Rock Squad when some stuff was going on, man, and you showed humility and good character, man. And from that day forward, I mean, I just gained so much respect for you, and I've been following you ever since. And you know, it's important. You and even the group, as I learned more about raising awareness, which is the next question, is who is the raising awareness group? Before y'all answer that, I want to read something first. And peace to Ty Lackey, you for subscribing to the channel, and for those that are tuned in right now, if you ain't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. But let me read something because we're gonna get into elders, because I want to talk about, we got two elders on the panel, two Awuweras, you know, and we got a young up and coming scholar. So let me read this first, and then y'all can, you know, kind of talk about, you know, who is the raising awareness group. But I want to read this right here, and it's because we're going to talk about eldership too. You know, this is the main thing. You know, I'm most excited about is the eldership, getting the perspective from actually two elders that's on the panel and two elders that I respect. But it says, what is this is just something I'm reading, something that an article I wrote about 2 or 3 years ago. It says, what is an elder? An elder is elder are the guardians of the culture, tradition, history, and the people. Integrity, generosity, wisdom, articulate, subtle, patience, tactfulness, gratefulness, and being listened to and respected by others are qualities of an elder. Understandable with eldership, one status and value in the community rise. What is the role of an elder? The primary work of an elder is to advise, guide, and oversee the living community. Their fundamental values and purpose lies in the teaching the young what it means to be a human. The elders knows the tradition, history, values, belief, and cultural laws that inviolate. According to the experience and the wisdom of the elders, it is readily sought to freely share with others. Elders are charged with the task of understanding both the material and spiritual requisition of life. It is thought to be an honor to even be in the presence of an elder. There serves a link between the past and the present while guaranteeing their way of life is extending through the future. So I wanted to read that because the reason and the reason why I have great respect for the group as a totality, you got a young and up and coming, and you got two elders, and the two elders and the group in the totality fits the criteria of what an elder is, what an elder is, and what an elder is supposed to be doing. So when I read y'all mission statement and even looking on the website and seeing some of the work that y'all have done and are continuously do, man, it fits y'all to a T. So that makes me have the utmost respect for y'all. And, you know, and I'm honored to definitely be in the presence of all three of you, especially the two elders who are elders and not olders. So can, you know, either, you know, all three of y'all can, you know, take turns and answer this, or one can answer this, but who is the Raising Awareness Group?
I'll
Take
let
that,
the
Kufu.
elder the group. I'll let the elder take
Go ahead.
that one.
He's thinking. Said he want me to take it.
Yeah, let the
So,
youngster take. Let the
Oh,
youngster
you
take
gonna
it.
take? Okay, let the youngster. Okay, good.
so I'll just go to the kind of the I'll kind of go to the slogan that we like to use, which is raising awareness through educational activism. So the Raising Awareness Group is a collective body of individuals who want to raise awareness on social economic issues that affect our community, that we may or may not be aware of, and being able to help bring us out of our conditions as a people. And our conditions as a people is we have been and currently are notoriously oppressed peoples. Some things are better, but we still have a lot of work to do in our community. So the real mission of the Raising Awareness Group is really just raising awareness to things that's going on that affects our community as a whole, and really connecting with like-minded individuals who share the same mission statement. So that's how I would sum it up in general.
Okay. All right. Y'all definitely, man, are doing the work, man. Y'all definitely doing the work, man. Give for those that may not. And I meant to put in the link even when we get off of here. Their website will be in the description below when we end it. I'll make sure that I go back and edit it and put it in there, because I know I didn't put it in there before we started the show. But for those that may not know where how to get your website, what is the name of your website so they can?
It's raisingawarenessgroup.com.
Okay. Hey, Sutek, if you don't mind, put that in the chat, man, so people can have that. All right.
I got it.
Okay. All right. And you kind of summed up the question forward too. So let's get into it. So what is an elder from you all's perspective? So I would like to know what.
So I guess I'll answer that first, and then I'll let them answer it. From my perspective, an elder is somebody who is well respected in the community, is aware of the social economic issues that affect our community. Also, somebody who is patient, discerned, compassionate, empathetic, and willing to teach and guide a young person, such as myself, and to be able to relate to them on multiple levels, not just knowledge, but just life in general and wisdom.
Okay. I can agree with that. I definitely can agree with that.
Yeah, Kufu pretty much summed it up pretty well. I think the part that I like to emphasize would be what he said about not only communicating on like educational level, but identifying on the level of life. You know what I mean? And talking about your experiences as an older person, especially as an older man with another young man. I remember, I know Kufu remember this, when we went back in 2000, I want to say 2015, we went to the University of Penn Museum to tour with Runoko Rashidi. And Runoko, so we were done the tour and everything, and he was gracious enough to sit down with us at the end of the tour in the museum and just had I guess we talked about a good 45 minutes to an hour, just chatting. And the most notable thing he said to us, and at that time Ivan was still alive, was that his mentor and his friend was John Henrik Clarke. And he talked about how him and John Henrik Clarke didn't even talk about scholarship a lot. They just talked about everyday life. His relationship with his family and how they raise their children. They talked about women, you know what I mean, and relationships and things of that nature. He said that was more important than the scholarship stuff, and that's one thing that we try to do as elders. I know Elder Tunji, he can speak for himself. We do the same thing. We try to identify on as many levels as possible because first of all, I try to be the great teacher. In a lot of respects, I'm not that great teacher. I still have a lot to learn myself. But identifying on this one-on-one personal life and life situation on that type of level, that's the most important thing. And I think that's what we try to strive to do. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. What about you?
Well, for me, in building off of what Dave said, from the scholarship level, I try to present as precise a manner as I can the actual evidence and that type of thing. As regards to just everyday stuff, I try to always make myself available for any young person to talk about almost anything. Sometimes I just want to talk about music, or I might want to talk about uh, just women, or like Kufu was saying, or relationships, or uh, other things. Sometimes we'll talk about things in my life that I've gone through. The different processes that allowed me to grow. Um, the different, some things I'm experiences as a child. I'll talk about. I'm just sending other things, and one of the things that I like to always I try to emphasize as regards to people on Facebook who are on my friends list or whatever. Reach out to me, inbox me. If you got questions and you think I can answer them, I always say don't hesitate to ask me. Um, I have time. I may not see the question or the message right away, but when I see it, I'm going to get to it. Sometimes, if I think it's important enough, I may even exchange phone numbers and get the person, allow the person to talk to me on the phone. Because sometimes you want to hear that um, inflection, the actual energy that's coming with the words, so that person on the other end can actually feel you, as opposed to just hearing or reading words that's being typed on the screen. So I don't do it all the time. I don't give everybody my phone number, but there are times when I might say, "Give me a call, man. Let's talk." Because as an elder, I have a lot I want to share, and oftentimes sometimes I will see somebody making putting out something that I think I might could maybe give them some wisdom on how to better present it or something. And I might say, call me, and we'll go over it and talk about it, whatever. And they'll appreciate the fact that I took the time to do that. I used to tell young people a lot. Like one time I was in the barbershop talking to some young people, and then I remember talking to a young brother, and I said, y'all should always listen to elders. I said, you don't have to always do what they say, but at least take the time to listen. I said, because the one thing that the young people I think miss is the fact that we love y'all enough and we care enough that we want to share what we know, that we're willing to take our time. We don't have to do this. We do this because that's our calling as elders and jegnas. That's what we're supposed to do. So, I try to do that as often as I can. I'm always trying to be available. Sometimes too much. Sometimes to the detriment of my own family. Sometimes I had to pull back sometimes. But yeah, that's how I see my role.
Okay. And when in African traditions, man, elders like are very important, and there are a lot of people in this so-called conscious community, social media community world. Um, you know, there's, you know, they shouldn't have that title elder, and the reason why I say they shouldn't have that title elder, and the reason why, you know, when I refer to Mku or I refer to you, Olatunji, as Aware, which means great elder, is because y'all exemplify what an elder is, because I look at everything, or we look at everything over here from an African worldview and from an African perspective. And, you know, and we have to distinguish the two, because you know, and it's just not in my opinion, it's just me studying African traditions, that that because one grows old does not deem him to be an elder because he has 10 or 20 years of age on me. That does not make him an elder according to an African worldview, from an African perspective and from an African cultural standpoint. So I definitely respect, like I said, respect you and Brother Mku. Go ahead. Somebody had something?
No.
Oh, I thought somebody said so. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely respect that from that level, and I'm definitely trying to continue to push the distinction between the two, older and an elder. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a lot of elders out there, and we have a lot of elders out there. So it's definitely a distinction between the two, and y'all are definitely elders. Is and dealing with that, man, is there a disconnect between the youth and the elders? I'm speaking from abroad. I know generally when it comes to raising awareness, y'all have a younger brother in the group, so I know that that's not, you know, the case when it comes to y'all, because if that was the case, it probably would be just all elders, you know, but y'all have a young brother who also is in the group. But I see it, but I'm asking, do y'all see, is there a disconnect between the elders and youth?
I would definitely say so, from my observation, and I'll let the other two answer. From my observation, is definitely a disconnection, and I just really think that's in generalized, just speaking from a youth perspective. A youth perspective look at elders like they haven't contributed enough to the community. And there's also misconceptions of an elder. So when people hear elder, they're going to think, like, oh, this guy's going to try to be my dad, you know, or somebody's going to try to be my uncle, you know, or some authoritative figure, when it's not like that, you know. So, you know, so that's where the disconnection comes in at. You know, because I've talked to younger people, and people say, oh, I don't want to talk to no older people. They're just going to be like my dad, or they're going to tell me the same things my dad or my aunt tell me. And I said, yeah, you'll probably get some of that. I said, however, it's not like that, these are human individuals. They just happen to be on this earth longer than you have, and we don't understand that they try to share that wisdom of what they went through with us. And with us, I mean the youth. So yeah, it's a big disconnect, and I think it's a misconception and how it's perceived. That's why for me it's very important. Even when I'm like on social media, you'll see me joking with both of them and posting pictures or just, normal stuff, just to show the community that, it's just,
that we can have fun.
Yeah, that we can have fun. It's not like some, like I'm looking at these guys like they, dad 2.0 or 3.0 or something like that. These, like I'm looking at these guys like, like any other person, you know, that's a close friend or something in that respect, because I'm able to have a dynamic relationship with them, and most of the time I'm not even thinking about the age gap or age difference, to be more descriptive. So yeah, I just think it's a big disconnect, and I think that comes from how it's perceived from the youth perspective. Now, I'm not sure how it's perceived from the elder perspective, but I'll let them speak on that, and give you their perspective from an elder's perspective.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I believe that there's a lot of what Kufu said there. There's also the part of some elders or olders, who whatever category they may find themselves in, they may feel as though that they're going to be basically bossing them around, like, this is what you have to do, this is what you must do. And that's one thing that I know myself and other elders that I know, we actually try not to do that. One of the things we try not to do is try to be dominant in our relationship with anybody who happens to come into our sphere of influence. You know what I mean? So if you are asking for specific information or assistance or information on any area of scholarship or of life or whatever, we're going to respond to what you are coming to us for. We're not going to try to determine what you need before we even have the opportunity to even find out what you're about, who you are, what your challenges are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. I mean, that comes through interaction. And if we don't get that interaction from a younger person, how the hell are we going to be able to help you? So if you don't start the conversation or want to engage in the conversation because you have a bias against the so-called quote unquote older generation because you think they're too bossy, then you're not only are we losing out on the opportunity to help you, you're also losing out on the opportunity to gain insight on some a situation that you have no idea what are about because you haven't got there yet. You haven't experienced those situations yet in life. So it's a very complicated thing, but I think a lot of it has to come down to what Kufu just said. That elder's going to be like my dad, or he's going to be like my uncle, or he's going to be bossy and everything else. And I think that's the furthest thing from the truth, in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely, and y'all definitely are definitely approaching. You definitely are approaching. What about you, Olatunji?
I try to, when I see mistakes being made, that's the only time I might, if it's somebody that I'm close with, I'm going to say something. I've always viewed relationships this way. When I see a person that I care about making a decision that is ill-advised or may not have been well thought out, then I'm going to say something. They may not like the fact that I say it. And what I've always felt is this. I use this as an analogy. If we're standing, if say me and Kufu are standing on the curb, we get ready to walk across the street. And I see this car barreling down the street and Kufu doesn't see it, and I see him get ready to step off the curb. I'm going to grab him by the arm and pull him back. Now, Kufu might get mad with me for doing that, and that might be because he didn't realize why I was grabbing him. And I might yank him a little forcefully. And what the thing for me is that I ain't worried about him getting mad with me. I don't care, because at that moment, I saw him doing something that was not in his best interest. And as somebody who cares about him, my first responsibility is to do that. We can discuss about you getting mad with me because I yanked you later on. You know what I mean? And so I tell people that when I see, it's like friends. when you see a friend doing something wrong, you don't just support him because he's your friend. If he or she is doing something and yours is not advantageous to them, you have an obligation to say something. And so say something, and even if it severed the relationship, I know that I said and did what I tried to do to stop them from doing something that I knew was not in their best interest, than to just be their friend and just go along to get along. I'm not that kind of elder. And so but I try to do it in a way that's loving and caring, because I always try to use um the softest approaches that I can when I'm expressing that to younger people. Um, I've always, like I said, I've always made myself available. Um, I'm a little stern. That's just how I'm hardwired to be. I guess that's the part of me that my father instilled in me, to be a little, on the stern side. So maybe that's what it is. But I still show that love, and I show that by taking the time, putting the time in with the individuals that want it. But if you don't want what I have to offer, then it's not a whole lot I can do. As regards to young people, I think that, yeah, there's definitely a disconnect, and I know it's on both sides, and I know that we on our side as elders, we probably can do a better job of trying to express and communicate with them, but they also have to be willing and open to want to receive it. And so um, there was an incident that I had a few years ago on Facebook where I had put up an advisory of what I was expecting on certain things, and there was an individual who came in immediately decided they were going to violate that process of what I said that I was not going to tolerate. And then when I said, well, look, please don't do that. You need to. And so now I'm trying to appeal to them. They just said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm like, oh, okay, then you need to go. Because at that point, their youthful exuberance has overshadowed their ability to take the wisdom and the instruction I'm trying to give them. Because I tried to appeal to this person, and they didn't, so I had to kick them off my page. So that's the kind of thing. That's where that disconnect is, because they feel like they can do whatever they want to do, and sometimes they need to have their coat yanked. So then listen. You've got to listen. Like like I always say, you don't have to do what I say, but at least listen to me, because just in, like I always, I'm like that saying. I've said this before. I read it on the wall. I finally did find out who said it, but I can't remember it right now. But the saying is, the beginning of wisdom is silence. So sometimes you just have to be quiet. You have to. I know you might think you know a lot, and you might do. But you still need to sometimes listen so that you can hear what the elder is saying. It don't mean you have to adhere to what he or she is saying, but just listen, because maybe you don't understand it, and maybe some time has to come about before you understand. Like some other things have to play out, and then that wisdom that they gave you will come back to the surface, and you'll say, oh, I now remember so and so. Like I give, I'm gonna give you them, have y'all laugh at this one real fast, and I'm gone. My father had gotten into an argument with my mother when I was 16. I'll never forget it. He was coming downstairs and he was grumbling, and I said, "What's wrong, Dad?" He said, "Nothing." So I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Women, can't live with him, can't live without him." So I said, "What you mean?" He said, "You'll understand." And one day, about 4 years later, I got into an argument with my then girlfriend, who became my first wife. And I was walking outside, and all of a sudden it was like he was standing there telling me, he was like right there telling me. I said, and I literally screamed. I said, "Oh!" You know what I mean? And I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, I understand exactly what he was saying, but that's, and so what I'm saying is that right at that moment when he told me, I didn't understand. But because I listened, there was a time that came about later on where I could reflect about on what he actually told me. And I was like, bam, it's right there. Ah, I got it. I hope I hope y'all kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely got what you
I definitely got
You
what
know.
you
and I definitely
and I
agree
definitely
that
agree.
yeah, that's good. That's definitely a disconnect on both, on both parts too. And I just wanted to ask, the you all that, because on one hand you got the youth that is blaming the elders, and then you got the elders that is blaming the youth. You got and I see a lot of it, what I'm saying, on both parts, and I applaud both of you brothers for, what I'm saying, making yourselves available, what I'm saying, and what I'm saying, being considerate of the others, because there's elders. Well, I'll just say I had an elder at a particular a person who I deemed to be an elder, and me reaching out to him, you know, um, he did, he kind of basically talked down on me. He kind of like basically talked down on the youth, talked down on me, talked down on some of the things that I did, where it made me feel a certain type of way. But I'm glad it didn't make me feel a certain type of way where um I thought all elders did that. I thought all elders did that. So again, like I said, I definitely appreciate and applaud you, brothers, because you definitely um, exhibit those characters of an elder.
Hey, brother Kofi,
Uh-huh.
let me come in real quick before you go further on. You hit on a pretty important point as far as the communication. And I see that I see in the chat that Sean had made a comment about maybe trying to call an elder up or older in that case,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't respond back. Yeah, we have enough blame on both sides of the fence with this relationship issue, this connect issue. There's no one side has more responsibility than the other. I think it's equally. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the percentage is? In my opinion, I think it's just as equal responsibility for both sides. However, if you call an elder and they gave you their phone number, and they don't respond to you or don't call you back, they weren't an elder, because they should at least at some point get back to you and say, look, my life right now is crazy. I don't have the time. Maybe we can hook up at another date. There's no reason why they can't do that. Explain the situation to you. So let's move on. Let's move on to somebody else, because these so-called people, and these will be very, very respectful elders, but at some point, the elder characteristics, they have to be 100%. You have to be 100% elder. You can't be 50% elder, 60% elder. You can't be because you wrote a book, or you was on somebody's social media platform, and you're respected because people like to hear you talk. But if you're not responding to people who's trying to reach out to you, and I know your time is very, very limited in a lot of cases, but there's still no reason why you can't say to that particular person or individuals, well, look, I just don't have that time right now, but maybe at some later date we can hook up. But it is unconscionable for you not to return that phone call or that inbox or whatever it is if you are an elder back to a younger person. You are not an elder if you do that. That I want to make that very, very clear.
And I definitely I think and we'll move on to the next question. When I first moved back here, and I'm speaking from here, people that are older than me. This car wash I used to go to when I first moved back. I've been back in my hometown maybe about 4.5, almost 5 years. And at this car wash where I used to go get my car wash, it's a lot of elders that worked. And I'm saying elders because a lot of them I know personally, and their characteristic doesn't fit to be an elder because they don't set the right example. And so one day I was down there and I seen them talking, and I'm washing my car. I'm trying to mind my business, but it's in a crowd, and all I can hear was majority of all of them talk bad about the elders. Not bad about the elder, but bad about the youth. Bad about the youth. Bad about the youth. So I got tired and I eventually approached them, you know what I'm saying? And engaged in a conversation with them. Olatunji, he's back. And engaged in a conversation with them, about the youth and why they feel so, strongly negative about the youth, because all you could hear was, and I was explaining them, that's one reason why the youth doesn't respond or respect those who are up in age them or are considered to be elders, is because of the down talking of the youth. And at the same time, the youth is a reflection of the elders. So if the youth fell, then the elders fell. So I was trying to put together about 3 years. I can't think of the name of it was a bunch of programs that I was trying to start. So I started meeting with a bunch of group of men. But when you start getting ready, everybody's cool when you're meeting and you're talking and we're trying to organize everything and get things together and, formulate ideals, throw away what we don't need, what we gonna need. And then when it's time to start building, definitely when I say, well, I know how to get us a brick and mortar so we can start doing these programs, because some of these programs are going to facilitate a building. So one of the top programs was the disconnect between, I forgot the name of the program or what I called it, but it was a disconnect between the elders and the youth, because I didn't, I felt it a certain type of way when I was at the car wash. Like I really feel a certain type of way because it was just negativity after negativity about the youth. So and then the same, on the issues, if I go, down my grandma's house, it's the same thing. These kids not respecting the youth, and they saying why they don't respect the youth. Trying to put together a program so we can all be on, we can all get together, be on one common ground, and the elders can voice their gripes, the youth can voice their gripes, and then we can come, meet in the middle and see what we can do so we can, we can start respecting each other. We can start working together. We can start moving forward together. I hate that didn't happen. I wish that we could do, and I've been thinking about trying to do that, like far as, with this so-called conscious community, social media community, is put together some type of conference. We have these conferences for all types of things that we got going on. But I definitely think we need a conference, for the youth and the elders. Let's have a youth elder conference. You see what I'm saying? Well, we can sit at, sit at the table and voice our opinions and our gripes on certain things and see what we can do for as fixing it so it won't stay like that. So, people, when a elder approach them or give them some types of guidance or counseling, they willing to accept it without being, man, I ain't listening to what you saying, and so forth. The same thing when a youth is talking to the elder, that elder is not too stubborn in his ways where he feel like, well, okay, I'm older than you, therefore anything that you say is null and void because I'm older than you. I can't learn anything from you because I've been here longer. And that's that's something that I'm concerned that I have been so with the elders. So that's definitely something that I think that, we all need to try in the future. Sometime in the future is to put something together so we can stop it. We can stop it, try to stop it in its tracks. So the generation coming behind us, and when I get to be an established elder, you know what I'm saying? And others have, become elders. We have a base a good base relationship with the youth, and the youth have a good base relationship, you know, with us. So I really think, man, we definitely need to do that.
Yeah,
Let me go back.
I'm all in for that one.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely love to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, that sounds like a great idea. It's something that maybe we can work on maybe sometime in the late summer or something, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hold y'all to y'all word now. I'm gonna hold y'all to y'all word. Dang, hold on. I'm trying
Just give me, I just need time, but you know, to prepare, you know, in terms of knowing exactly when, because you know, a lot of times I'm moving, I'm always moving, and I got a lot of things that's going on in the background besides, you know, just the scholarship and other things I'm doing right at the moment.
right,
Some personal stuff that I don't want to really share right now.
right. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give y'all what we call a deadly notice. I don't like to, you know, give somebody, you know, tell
Yeah,
somebody at last minute. I like to at least give them at
yeah,
least,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, a 2 or 3 month notice, especially if doing something like this.
Hmm.
So definitely.
Yeah.
Brother Kufu, this question is for you. And, you know, since we still on the elders, what have you learned from both elders? What have you learned from our Mku, and what have you learned from our Oletunji?
Wow, it's a pretty dynamic question. They both are I'll just speak about both of them. They both are dynamic individuals. Um, um, Olatunji is like you said, stern. So I know when I need those stern conversations, I can always call Olatunji. I know Olatunji give it to you straight and raw. So will Mku. Mku is a little bit more analytical. So when I want something super analytical, I can always call Mku. And you know, we'll have these super analytical conversations. Olatunji gives it to you straight, no chaser. But both are dynamic individuals. They both have shown me that is much to life past a certain age. Um, and you know, I have my own misconceptions about reaching a certain age. When I look at Olatunji, I see his family life, um, 8 children, wife. Um, Youngest child is 8 years old, which is relatively close to my oldest child's age, which is 6 years old. So when I look at Olatunji, I say, wow, this is a family guy. In his elder years, raising an 8-year-old, and has multiple children, maintaining the family life, and um, and he's smiling about it, you know, or at least he's smiling about it to me. You know, he could be praying to God behind in the background.
He
But
can
no,
be a handful, I tell you, boy.
but
He can definitely be a handful, boy. Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
but it's just you know, so when I look at Olatunji, you know, I see this very um magnificent guy that's about his family and is very passionate about his family and what he's doing, you know, with his life. So I look at that and I feel inspired. When I look at Mku, um, you know, I know me and Mku had I've known Mku a little bit longer than Olatunji. And just our conversations on a day-to-day basis, and just knowing a little bit of his backstory to how he got to where he's at now, and he's really overcome a lot, um, um, and that's inspiring within itself. See somebody like him that's overcame a lot, um, and gotten to the point where he's at now, is a great deal of inspiration. You know, and he's a great guy. You know, to be able to call him and just really talk about any and everything, and he can lend his wisdom and his expertise, is very valuable to me. Some days, you know, I'll call him up and I'd be like, "Look, man, I think I'm going to choke my boss today." what you think about it. And he'll give me his, you know, his perspective. I'm joking. But you know, in short, you know, he'll give me his expertise, he'll give me his wisdom, and then, you know, and we always find ourselves laughing and joking, and you know, the bond is real good, man. So really, I would, you know, I would say I learned a lot about you know, their paths in life and how they got to where they got to, and their wisdom, and to be able to look at the wisdom that they're giving me and apply it to my life is invaluable. I can't even put a price on it, to be honest with you. And it's not even just from like a knowledge perspective, like some, you know, something book wise. It's just their wisdom, just the way that they traveled their paths in life and got to where they got to now, and to be able to talk about it with them and learn from it is very valuable to me, and I can't put a price on it. So I'm just honored to know these guys, and very privileged to be a part of their lives. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do it.
You as well.
I done lost my train. I thought I was finna say something. I done lost my train. Maybe to come back to me. But all right. What is the inspiration for putting Raising Awareness, past, present, and future book together?
I remember when I was when we first started talking about putting the book together. It was all three of us, and we were discussing, you know, what we were going to write about and things of that nature. And we basically just said, let's stick with what we've been about for the last 4 to 5 years. You know, we came into existence right around the end of 2014, mid summer 2014, and we've had some very successful events. 2015, 2016, and then again in 2017. And we say, you know, it's time for us to write a book. And we had some things that we were passionate about as individuals, but we also learned too that our passion were always around the I guess the culture of the Raising Awareness group. And it was always a reason for identifying in all of our specific individual pursuits, identifying solutions for contemporary issues. Now, we know that teaching about our history is very, very important and everything else. But what we like to do ourselves here in the group is to talk about issues that are affecting the African community now, the contemporary issues. And we took those topics, our individual passions, and we put them in the book. Of course, there's always a historical viewpoint behind all of our issues. Most of our issues are passed down generationally. Yeah, that's the book right there. Are passed down generationally from the advent of the trans-Saharan slave, what I say trade, but prisoner exchange, and then of course the European prisoner exchange, and we've had these issues ever since. But now we have contemporary issues that have come about directly as a result of the European capitalistic oppressive system that we're in now, this paradigm. So how do we navigate these issues? And this is what I think this book tries to do, and I think does actually pretty well.
You got something to add, Olatunji, or you want us to go ahead and move to
No,
the next?
no, I'm cool. He pretty much laid it out. Aside from the title itself, the title pretty much speaks to what we set out to do. Raise the awareness, the past, the present, and to present some ideas for the future. That's what we tried to do in the book. So
Definitely. Let me show the book again, family. This is the book. Could y'all tell where they can go and get purchase y'all past, raising awareness, past, present, and future?
Yes, you can go to Amazon.com and just just put the title of the book in, and then you can also go to my Shopify .rag. I'm sorry, yeah, rag-ppf.myshopify.com and get it on my Shopify.
With the Shopify, the y'all, if one ordered off of y'all Shopify store, y'all personally send it off, or y'all got a distributor who packaged the book up and send it off for y'all? And I'm asking that for a reason, because I rather, when especially with the Author's Perspective show, I try to deal with patronizing the author. You know what I'm saying? Because I be wanting the author to get, at least 90% of his intellectual property. When you go through Amazon and some of these other marketplaces, I know y'all not getting the money right away. You got to wait a whole quarter. You know what I'm saying? Some of you got to wait a whole month and a half. It just depends on what marketplace you own, and and they turn your mind out. You're getting a small percentage. So that's why I'm asking about the Shopify store. So, or is it the same way y'all go through a distributor too?
Yeah, they do that on Amazon, but there's also different ways that you can actually market the book, where they only get a portion of the proceeds right off the top, but they don't hold their proceeds from the book sales. Those book sales come to us pretty much almost immediately.
Oh, from now, Shopify? From your Shopify?
No, Amazon.
Shopify too.
Wow. I mean, that's because I'm asking why, because see, like I know, because majority, if you go through Amazon, like we got several books on Amazon, and like it's a it's no secret, 60-40 split, and then we get paid every quarterly. It's every quarter. We don't get, like, if you go buy a book right now or go buy all the books on there right now, we don't get that money instantly. We have to wait before we get that money. Wow, I might have to check into that, because I know majority of the people.
Well, it's not instantaneously, but it's not a quarter either. It's not. Okay. You don't have to wait a whole quarter.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we don't have that type of agreement arrangement with them. And it's the same thing with Shopify. We handle the shipping ourselves.
Oh yeah. And that's why I was asking.
Once we get the order, we handle the shipping. We handle the shipping ourselves for Amazon too. Yeah.
Oh.
So
okay.
there are you got to check the arrangements and the agreements, and you can actually have it that way, where you can actually do the shipping yourself. So for both Amazon and for Shopify, we ship our own books.
Well, you just
get the order. We get the order, we take the order, we ship it out, and then that money comes to us within probably, I would say, maybe just a week, maybe 2 weeks. We get the money.
Okay. Well, family, either go to Amazon or Shopify, because I be trying to tell people to stay away. Even though our books on there, that's why we created our website, so that we could get 90, at least almost 100% of our intellectual property. We do the same thing. We ship them out ourselves. You order them from the website, we send them out. So
I just want to add real quick, if I can, Kofi, that
go ahead.
These guys worked tremendously hard on the book. So I kind of want to give them their roses, and they worked tremendously hard on the book, tremendously hard to get the book out. I wrote the foreword to the book. Dr. Takai Kilimanjaro wrote the introduction to the book. So it's a very good book. We want people to read it, because we want people to give the feedback on the book, on what their thoughts on the book is, and they work tremendously hard. So I just wanted to give them their roses and tell people to get the book. It's a very good book, and we think everyone will enjoy it.
No doubt. I definitely got it, y'all. Please, God. I'll be honest, I hadn't read the entire book, man. I tell you, I'm on the go, man. I got so much stuff going on, but I did read at least half of the book. I just got to finish the book, and it is some good information in there. It's some great. And then and for people that don't have the book, they can also go back to Dr. Oyama Ott channel. They've been on there quite a few times where they broke down some of the chapters and the information in the book. For those that may not have the book, and go back and check them out on Dr. Oyama Ott platform as well. Awa Olatunji, you also wrote an individual book, African-Centered Response to the LGBTQIA organization and their agenda, the conversation no one wants to have. Can you briefly talk about the book and what was your inspiration behind writing the book?
Okay. Well, I guess let me start with the last question. My inspiration was my love for our people, first and foremost. My love for my own progeny, and the fact that I began to encounter a lot of people masquerading as conscious, as well as those who weren't conscious, who were coming into conversations relative to the topic and trying to convince our people that the behaviors that the LGBTQ organizations have been advocating were normal behaviors, were behaviors that we as African people had always participated in, and that it was a part of our culture. I knew that was patently false. And so, what happened was over the course of, uh, over a decade of going back and forth and arguing with people on Facebook, I began to see this circular pattern of these same things coming around. It's almost like they were taking classes and or workshops, and they were coming with these same arguments. And as I began to get into these long, drawn out debates, some of these dialogues, and that became, I made a Word document and began to save them, and it just started. We actually just started from there. And so, when we started writing Raising Awareness, Past, Present, Future, we talked about putting a chapter in there relative to this topic. And so, after I guess a quarter of the way through, we decided that that was not the best vehicle. That was Kufu and Mku made a very good impression on me. That they said that because of all of the research I had done, they said that's your baby. You need to do that. So I was like, okay. So I contacted I contacted Brother Takai, and I asked him if he would give me some pointers on how to put this together as a book. He said, okay, send me what you have. So I sent it to him, and then he gave me some advice on some things, and I started writing the book. And so what came about was an African-centered response to the LGBTQ organizations and their agenda, the conversation no one wants to have. It's an extremely not bragging or anything, but I know the kind of work I put in it. It's well documented. It has a lot of scientific research. It comes has its synopsis is pretty simple. It addresses this is what I call acute insanity. It provides documented research from the various medical and psychological, psychiatric, scientific research studies and documents, such as the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, what is commonly referred to as the DSM-5. It has information and quotes from the National Institutes of Health, the Centers for Disease Control, the American Medical Association, It has correct etymological, linguistic, and historical definitions of many of the terms that the LGBTQ likes to use. It has quotes from some of their most powerful organizations about their stated agenda, uh, about their push for transgender acceptance, um, and so much more. It's my my greatest, I think, greatest contribution that I could make. I don't know if I'm gonna ever be able to top it. Um, I will say it's a little over years of documented research, um, and it builds on works that came before it. Works like War on the Horizon, Black Resistance to the White Sex Assault by the Irritated Genie. Books like Homosexuality and the Feminization of African Males by Mwalimu Baruti. And by the way, Baruti wrote the forward for my book. So that tells you how much what he thought about it. Um, and anybody that reads the book will understand the war that we're in regards to this. And this is this is something that's plaguing us as a race of people. We need to get a hold of it now before it completely gets out of control.
And where can they find that book? At Ty Lackey, I guess he has read the book. He said it's opened up my family eyes. So and he said it's an outstanding book. So Ty Lackey, peace to you. So
Peace
where
to you,
can they
Brother Lack.
find? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. You can find it on my Shopify. Go to Olatunji-Mwamba. Was it Olatunji-Mwamba? Let me see. Wait a minute. I'll tell you. Hold up. Let me look at it now. Olatunji-Mwamba.myshopify.com/collections/all. That's Olatunji-Mwamba.myshopify.com/collection/all. And you can purchase it there. If you live in the DMV, the Baltimore, DC metropolitan area, you can also purchase it from Everyone's Place, the Black-owned store in Baltimore, Maryland, 1356 West North Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21217. Their phone number is 410-728-0877. That's 410-728-0877. And again, that address is 1357 West North Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21217.
I'm there. Oh, I supposed to been got the book and actually forgot about it. I had asked M. Cool when I first found out about it, and he gave me the link, and man, I totally forgot. But I'm definitely gonna order the book tonight. I'm gonna send me the link. Send me the link again, either you or M. Cool. I can put it down in the description, but just send it because I want it so I can go ahead and purchase the book.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kofi. You mentioned you are and you mentioned you were a writer, right? And I read your work that you had in Killmongers 2 and Benjamin Njai book. AKA Black Panther, the Conscious Community Pan-African Journal. Can you give a brief summary of the chapter you wrote? And go ahead, and I'll now follow up behind that too.
Okay, so first let me correct you a little bit. I actually wrote in both journals. I'm in volume 1 as well.
I'm sorry. I'm in both volumes too. I just hadn't read. I ain't even read. I'm in that, and I hadn't even read it yet. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I think. Let me see. I had the book right here.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Right here.
Well, let's just talk briefly about both.
Yeah. So I'll talk briefly. about so volume 1 I wrote on African holidays, which is essentially just going through all the European holidays and really explaining some of the origins of the holidays and how they're not their originations have nothing to do with our people culturally, and just giving a brief synopsis of each particular holiday in general. So it's a good read. It's a little bit of a shorter article than the article I wrote in the second journal. In volume 2, I wrote African Phobia, and I was really I really put a lot more into that particular article. And the brief synopsis of African Phobia is what it is. It's just our people having this phobia with identifying as being of African descent. People are more okay with the terminology of saying, okay, I'm a black person, but when you say I'm an African, what is it to be a person of African descent, not just from a genealogy perspective, but from a cultural perspective, from a mindset perspective. And I kind of just touched base. I start off the article, I believe, touching on evolution, kind of evolution. And then I go into a lot into just a mental perspective. I think I touched base a little bit on. I think I talk a little bit on eldership too in the article. It's been a while since I read my own article, but it's a very good article. Ben, Black Panther, aka Benjamin Njai, he put it out there to the community, and he says, "Look, want to put together this journal. I want to get people's voices heard, and." Each time that he put that out there, I kind of just stepped up and I submitted something, and and I was just happy to contribute any way that I can, because my thing as a researcher and a writer is we absorb all this information and we learn all this information, and what are we doing with it if we can't give it back to the people in one form or another? So yeah, that's.
Are there anything in the future pertaining to you putting out a publication?
Yeah, so I've been brainstorming on some things, and I kind of want to touch a little bit more so on the psychological perspective. However, I just don't know how it will be received because I don't have an education in psychology. So it would be more so just my opinion and research based on other people who are more so in the field. So I've been kind of just juggling with it, so I kind of like in the brainstorming process now. But I'll be continuing to write, when things just strike me. I've been very busy. I do a lot of multitasking with my family life and other things in respect and in that regard. But I'll definitely have some stuff coming in the future.
So if anybody wanted to go see some of your other stuff, because I hadn't been on y'all website in a while. Well, you go ahead and tell them. And I already said it. They can go.
It would be raisingawarenessgroup.com.
Right.
Go on the Visionary Thoughts tab and then just click on my name.
Right. Because I seen I've been in there in the past. I've been on there in the past when I first became aware of y'all a few years ago. About 3 years ago when I first became aware of you all, and just recently, maybe about 2 months ago, I just went on back on there again, and I was just browsing through the website and looking around the website, and when I clicked on your name and that thing, I like, golly, this guy been putting in some writing. So I started looking at the dates of when you was writing things. A lot of that stuff that you was writing was pre of what I ever seen. What I'm saying with the first publication. That was the first thing I seen. So I thought, and I was assuming that the Killmonger's Corner was your first, your first thing. But man, you've been writing before that. So you got quite a few, articles in there, man.
Yeah, I wrote a few, and then I got some stuff that's like unpublished. Some stuff that I just thought it needed tweaking, and really was just a little bit of babbling. So some stuff I got is unpublished, but yeah, I'll definitely be putting out some more stuff in the future.
Yeah, man, definitely. Now we finna get ready to wrap it up here too, man. While we on the thing of writing, and you can answer both of these two questions, but they two questions in one. What is the last book or the book you all are currently reading? And then follow up behind is, why writing is so important.
Well, the last book that the current book I'm reading now is something that I haven't got to now I've had it now for a couple of months. You know what? It's funny. I got to admit, I got about maybe 20 or some odd books that I still had to get to read. But there's one particular book that I really wanted to get to, and I've been putting off, and I just cracked it open a couple of days ago, and it's a very good book, and everybody who's read this has given it a high marks. It's The Dead Are Rising, and it's The Life of Malcolm X by Les Payne, and this is it.
I have to look that for myself.
So, yeah, that's the one I'm into right now. I understand this is a dynamic. There's been a lot of books on the life of Malcolm X, but they said this one is the best of all of them, and I'm really looking to get into, really get into this. Now there are a couple of books by non-Europeans, and I've always been interested in surveillance, data mining, and even with our use of social media, all this stuff is involved. How we're being monitored by what they call Big Brother, and everything is basically centered around artificial intelligence, and that has always been a very, very huge curiosity for me. So I've been reading the first book that got me really, really thirsty for this particular information was The Age of Capitalistic Surveillance Capitalism by I think her name is Kathy. What's her name? I think I wrote it down. Shoshana Zuboff, and that was a very, very eye-opening book, which now brought me to a book called, and this is all artificial intelligence, data mining, everything's involved. Is a book called Weapons of Math Destruction, and it's by Kathy O'Neill. Now, these, like I said, these are European women, and they put everything out there for us to know. Anything we need to know about how social media works. I don't know how we can be involved in these platforms, in social media, using Google and all these different things without understanding how it works and how are they getting this information? What are they using it for? What are they doing with it, and things of that nature? This is what we need to do as Africans. We need to understand what this technology is all about. We're using it, but do we truly understand it? So that's been a real big curiosity for me. So yeah, those three books is what the first book, Surveillance Capitalism, and then also the Math Destruction, and then of course the Les Payne book about Malcolm X. Those are the books I'm into right now.
Okay.
So right now I'm into I've been into a few books. One being Sesh Riketi by Dr. Takai Kilimanjaro. So I'm a little bit into that. I'm maybe about 100 pages or so. Another book I'm into is it's called How to Think by Gary Lorison. And this is a very good book. It's called A Complete Guide to Analytical Thinking. And the book just goes into how to think analytically, how to come to conclusions with arguments, and assessing information and things like that. So it's a very good book. I believe she's a European. However, it's a very good book. Which sparked me to even go this route with this book was actually Mku's section in Raising Awareness, where he gets into critical thinking. So, so that's definitely this is definitely a good book. Next book I've been reading is a book I had for a while, which I haven't really gotten into that much, but I've been getting into it a lot lately, which is Evolution of Earth. And this is more like a textbook, really. And it's by Donald R. Protherio and Robert H. Dot Jr. And it just goes into essentially what it is: evolution of Earth, crustaceans, formation of the Earth, time periods, Pangea, and stuff like that. And I've been pulling, there's a lot of conversations on social media about Pangea and whether or not people actually walked around during a time period of Pangea. And I'll tell you right now,
don't engage. Don't engage.
Oh,
this
man.
book, read this book.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's currently what I'm looking into right now.
Okay. What about you, Raul? Where all the tons?
Well, for me, I've been kind of dabbling back and forth in Sepet by Sepet African Comedic Calendar modernized by Brother Takar Ma'at Kilimanjaro, and also reading When We Ruled by Robin Walker. I've been into those because of timeline and looking deep into those things. Robin, I don't know if for those who haven't read it, Robin Walker has an excellent chapter called Egyptian Chronology, and it's tremendous, and so it helps formulate. And then when you add what Takar has written in regards to a calendar, we now have a corresponding calendar that dates back to the time of the first unification of ancient Kemet under Nesubidi Nama, and he brings it all the way up to today, and he has the corresponding calendar along with the Gregorian calendar, so you can see what the dates are for that we should be using, which is 7723 instead of 2021. And so he's got that. These are the so just so anybody that needs to there's other I'm reading too, because I'm always bouncing, but this is one. And then here's the other When We Ruled. So
yeah, I read that book, man, about 5 years ago. About 5 years ago.
A younger brother suggested When We Ruled to me, brother named Sanjetti.
Okay.
Yeah,
brother
suggested that book to me.
I got to get him on here too.
Yeah, I'm grateful for him having suggested it, because it really helped me. I mean, I already had some other understandings because I had already read Dr. Charles Finch's book, Echoes of the Old Dark Land, which had pushed the timeline back. And so so we knew that I knew even then that I read Dr. Finch's book back in 92. So I already knew that the timeline that the Europeans was using, the Caucasians was using, of 3100 BCE for the first unification of Kemet under Narmer in recorded history was not accurate at all. And so now I, after reading Robin Walker's book and then reading Sepet, and also because Robin Walker has a quote in there about what Herodotus had said in his book, the Book of Histories, That's very important to the discussion as well as in terms of timeline. So yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now. Those two.
Okay. Well, we finna get ready to wrap the show up. I try not to have the show but an hour or no longer than an hour and a half, but we done kind of ran over. We 14 minutes over, so we're gonna go ahead and end the show. It's getting kind of late, man. I definitely appreciate y'all for coming on the panel. I definitely learned some things today. I definitely learned a little bit more about each individual. And do any of you have what? Well, first, September, not September, Robert Sutik. You got anything, man?
Nah, this was a good build. I learned several things. I'm gonna make sure that I go and grab. I'm gonna make sure I go back and rewatch this because there was a lot of book titles thrown out there that I need to get some interesting stuff. But yeah, man, this was a good build, and I can't wait to do it again. Appreciate you brothers for coming on.
Do I?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll let y'all. Y'all got any final words, final statement before we end the show?
No, I'll just add that since eldership and the traditions of eldership and the characteristics of eldership was basically the driving momentum of this whole show. I just want to say that we need to get our egos in check. All of us need to get our egos in check. Elders, olders, young people, young scholars. I think it's time. I think your suggestion of getting together, having a forum of some type, and being able to talk as men and women and with each other, but do it respectfully, and come to the table with our differences, and come to the table with our agreements, and just let them be what they are, and then we can build from there. I think that's exactly what we need to do. So I think out of this show, I think we all should look at that as a starting point of correcting our chasm, this so-called chasm, and this disconnect between the elders and the young people. I think that's excellent idea.
I would just leave off the show by saying to everyone that everything in life, only thing in life that stays consistent is change. And don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to evolve. Learn new information. Test old theories, and to be an inspiration to other people, and help other people grow on their journey and their path.
I would only because this may seem a little, I don't know how people might want to take it. Our group, Raising Awareness, we've produced 2 books. And I would implore everybody who's listening to the program to consider purchasing both books. They are monumental works that will help you in our fight against racism, white supremacy, white terrorism, and that finally to know that the three of us have dedicating our lives to making a contribution to help free us as a race of people, because we love our people. And so that would be the thing that I want to say, that we love y'all. And thank you, Kofi and Sutek, for honoring us by allowing us to speak to y'all today and speak to the listening audience, for them to gather whatever they think we might can give them in terms of knowledge and life learning lessons, etc.
Gotcha.
We greatly appreciate y'all. It was definitely a honor and a pleasure to for you all to be on the platform today. I said in the beginning, ETM Hotel, which means bring forth peace. So now I'll say Shemim Hotel, which means to depart in peace. Peace and Black African power. And we'll see y'all when we see y'all.
Shemim Hotel.
By the way, I dropped that link in your inbox too.